Hey, what's up, Utah? The reason I want to talk about the data centers is because I think it's important to talk about them. I think we need to make sure that nobody is coming in and buying up land so they can own it by other countries or other states controlled and all of that kind of stuff. And I think we should not be selling the land to people that just want to buy stuff and move the control from Utah out into other countries. Okay? So I think you guys, every single one of you that own land, be very careful who you're going to sell the land to. If you're going to sell it to a corporation, you can do a little research on what corporation you're selling it to, things like that. This property is privately owned, and if they get permission from the county on what to build or the city, then they're doing it legally. So if you just don't sell the land to them, that will fix it. Another thing is, on the data center conversation, some people ask me, hey, Steve, what do you think about the data centers going in? My answer is, do you like data, AI, computers, automation? There is a high population of Utah that doesn't like AI, but there's also a lot of people that want more computing power, more AI, more storage. And some people they like the data, they like AI, but they also argue that it shouldn't be in Utah, or that it shouldn't be. I mean, a lot of people say it's because it's too dry, but my real answer is, if it's going to happen, why not in America? Why not put it in America so that we control it, so that we have the information and the computing power within the borders to kind of influence the direction we go. If we give the US more power over data centers, it pulls power from other countries. You guys know who else is in the race, but the AI race is real because computing power and information is doubling. I think last time I read it, then information on planet Earth doubles every 3 months. That means every computer, every storage device on planet Earth, you need to double it every 3 months. That is an insane amount of data. So one thing you can do to help that is stop using AI, stop using ChatGPT, stop using all of these, quit Googling stuff. If you don't Google something, then you won't need data centers to compute what you're Googling. That is how the people can really affect it. That is exactly how people can stop data center growth. Just quit using it and it will die. Except it's not quite that simple, because humanity, we want the convenience, but we don't want the inconvenience. We want the convenience of fast answers on the internet. We want convenience of automated systems, but we don't want the inconvenience of whatever it is, radiation, heat, lack of water, all that kind of stuff. But I think that the water usage, if you actually look into it, a lot of these new computers, they're cooled with Freon. They're cooled with, sometimes you can actually loop the gas through the computer, through the pipes, and the pipe will freeze, cool the computer. There's tons of ways to keep a computer cool today. If you go back, 15 years, a lot of water was consumed in cooling computers. But if you look across the evolution of computers, there are other ways to cool them off. So I definitely encourage everybody to actually statistically read about it. I know, for example, there's one proposed in Iron County. Statistically speaking, it's less than a big subdivision of water usage, because it's internalized and also not cooled by water. It's cooled by something else. But none of these, I'm not spitting facts. This is my opinion. I think it's important to talk about it. But I think it is most important to realize, if you want to stop data center growth, you either have to take two options: quit using them, or second option, store your data in other countries. Store your data in China, and you won't have a data center in US. But as Americans, we want the ability to control our data, so we're going to put it in US. And if it's going to be in US, why would somebody not want it to come to Utah and build out the economic growth of Utah? It gives Utah negotiation power over the world, not just the country, the world. We can basically say, hey, we don't like what you guys are doing. We are not going to compute your information. And now Utah owns it. So like I said at first, look into who owns it, see where they're at. But if they're going to bring a data center in and the owners live local and the owner, or they invest local, if somebody brings their money and invests it, it's going to help every single business nearby, and it's going to make a population have more work, higher paying jobs, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying higher paying than you currently have. I'm saying higher paying than in a world where the data center is 200 or 300 miles away. So if we put data centers in Utah, we also are probably going to go put some in other states as well. But if it's going, I think if it's going to be in US, why not put it in Utah? That's the question. Another question is, why do we need so much information? The answer is, people don't want their information deleted. Who wants their chat history, text message history deleted? Who wants their chat GPT history deleted? All their Instagram posts deleted, Facebook posts deleted, YouTube posts. YouTube, Google, Instagram, all these guys have to pay for information. A video gets exponentially harder to store because it's more file data, bigger file size, all that stuff. So if you're currently taking a video, it's storing on an iCloud. And if you look into these data centers, a lot of these data centers actually have a contract with big people like iCloud, Google Drive, Outlook, what is it? Lockbox, Dropbox. It's Dropbox. So sometimes these big people will actually contract with a data center just to store data, such as emails, photos, all these kind of things. So the fix is not to protest it out of existence. The fix is going to be stop using it, or come up with a better plan. Put the data center where you think it's better. If you put the data center back east and then you lose fiber optic connection to the west, you're going to be in trouble. The internet, your data will be stored out of state in a computer that doesn't even get influenced by locals. So yeah, that's my rant. I don't directly care whether or not it goes, in or out, wherever. I think it needs to be smart. I think the county commissioners need to be smart about the rules and regulations. The dust control during construction is going to be a big issue. And I think that the contractors need to be careful. And I think that as society, we need to raise the standard and say, hey, we need to move towards doing something more modern. If we're going to integrate computers into 2027, 2028, and beyond, if we're going to integrate computers into this world, we need to control them. And the best way to do that is to build them local, and also make sure the political side of it doesn't get corrupted. Because if you vote a bad politician in and he has control of your data, that's not going to be good. But the last thing we need is to outsource all of our data storage to China, and then wait for China to say, oh, we don't like you, we'll just freeze all your data. And you're going to say, we should have put storage devices right here in my backyard. And for this reason, a lot of people are actually purchasing private servers and putting them at the office, purchasing private servers, putting them at their home so they can store their own data. A lot of people, they download their stuff onto a thumb drive, pull the thumb drive out of the computer, pitch the computer. Thumb drive sits in the house, so you have direct control of it. So if you think of a data center like a thumb drive, we need to double those things every 3 months. And that's probably stretched data. That's probably not 100% accurate. But look it up, because data is doubling extremely fast. And what happens when you get your storage full, if you get a 16 gigabyte thumb drive and you upload a 15 gigabyte file, it's going to say, hey, you're almost full. But these guys that are operating, such as Dropbox, Google, Apple, like iCloud, they probably are currently saying, hey, we are running out of storage. And big investors say, hey, I'll get you some more storage, but I'm going to charge you for it. And then they say, absolutely, that's how business works. So I will pay you to store my data, as long as you adhere to these privacy rules or whatever. Then what happens is we have a whole bunch of data that needs stored, and then we have a guy that says, hey, I'll build a data center and you can pay me to hold it. And now people come in and say, hey, we're building it right here because of all these reasons. I don't know why they're choosing where they're choosing. I know that power is a big need for data. So if you put it near a gas line, you can make power off the gas. If you put it near a whole bunch of solar fields in a desert, you can make power off solar, things like that. So I think that business-wise, it's just normal business. It's literally somebody looking at an opportunity and filling it in with a problem-solving solution, which is, I will store your data, you pay me, whatever. And I don't know why they're choosing Utah, but I do kind of think it's because it's a desert and it does really well with solar for power. That's likely a very big reason. It's very expensive to put a solar field and then put a wire over to a data center if it's 1,000 miles away. That's expensive. So anyway, it's my hypothesis. Appreciate you guys coming in for my TED Talk, and I hope you guys have a great day. Keep the beautiful, beautiful state of Utah safe, and keep the computers out of town a little bit so that the society doesn't necessarily get affected by it in too big of a way. That's my opinion. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good day.